Hi, Flosstube. It's Julia from the Stitcher Girl podcast. It's Sunday, September the 27th, and here I am with episode 16. So today I'm going to talk about my whips, what I've been doing this month. I also have some haul. I've always got some haul. I'm going to talk about my plans for October. And there might be some life tidbits here and there, sprinkled in between all the different segments. I don't know what to say. It's a beautiful sunny day here in the Maritimes. Beautiful fall day. All the leaves are turning. I think it feels more like mid-October, end of October, than it is right now. Yeah, so I have just come off of work a night shift, and all I did last night was shovel you know what. So I'm tired. But I wanted to get in another floss tube before the end of September, this being the sacred holy month of samplers. So, whips. I never do a proper introduction, but this is primarily a floss tube. This is a podcast primarily about cross stitch. From time to time, I will talk about other things like knitting, quilting, rug hooking, spinning. And today is one of those days. I have a couple of things to talk about there. I do say a lot. And what else did I want to say about that? Oh, yes. As part of the introduction, yes, I want to welcome all my new subscribers. Thank you for dropping by and spending some time with me. I hope you'll leave a comment if you're a new subscriber so I can say hi to you. And also a big hello to my returning viewers. Thank you so much for your support, for your comments, for your likes, and for your friendship, for this great connection this great connection we can have via the internet. This is a great way to get in touch with stitchers from all around the world, and I've made some great friendships, some great stitching friendships, and so thank you for reaching out and for connecting. And yeah, I usually do make more sense, but it's Sunday morning and I worked all night. Let me tell you the stories I could tell you. So thanks for stopping by. So whips, works in progress. I feel like I didn't do a lot of stitching in the last 2 weeks since my last floss tube, but I think that's because I've been knitting. I've been working on a shawl. So I will show that to you. I was trying to keep a record of my stitching in this month, and I got to whatever it was, September the 15th, whenever I did my last floss tube, and then that's where my notes seemed to stop. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard for me to keep track of things. It's another great reason for doing a floss tube, right? If I can't remember when I started something, I can just go back and watch the video to find out. So whips. There are three cross stitching projects that I've been working on. I do have one new start. And if you remember, I was using the hashtags Sampler September, and also the hashtag spooky September stitching, because I had a need to start doing some Halloween and some fall pieces. So let's start off with the Scotland Quaker Mystery Cell. This is put out by Tempting Tangles. There is a Facebook group. You can still join the cell. There is only, I believe, one section of the chart left to be released, and that will be released in October. Very, very close. So I had a goal of working on this piece 8 days this month, and I have so far worked 3 days on it this month. And I think, though, I feel pretty good about my progress. If I can think of it, I think I took a picture of where I was before I started working on it this month. So the bagpipe, I think everybody can recognize the bagpipe. That is new. To the right of the bagpipe there, that medallion hexagon shaped, there's a bird, there's a grouse that's going in there, and it's fairly full coverage. So I haven't got there yet. And then on the other side of the bagpipe is a sporin, which is the pouch that men wear. It usually hangs in front of their kilts. And then we got whiskey bottles. And then here we have a crown. And at the very, I'll just turn it so you can see, but there's a Quaker motif that involves Scotty dogs. So I've done one. So I'm happy with that, and I've kind of given myself an opportunity here. Like if I just want to do some fill-in stitching, well, I can just sit down and work on that bagpipe, because it just needs to all be filled in now. So I feel good about that. And I think I was maybe putting too much pressure on myself to try to catch up with everybody, and that's ridiculous. But yeah, I wanted to try and get a good go this month. There are still a few days in the month, so I might do a little more. Now, I've been working on this. This one has been consuming quite a bit of my time. It's been fairly easy to pick up and just, do a letter here, a letter there, and it's just very enjoyable. And I've been getting a tremendous amount of positive feedback about this piece whenever I do post it. So I think that kind of maybe encourages me to keep at it and keep on it. And also to the next one, autumn. So I'd like to get summer finished and just move right into autumn, since we're now in autumn, unless you live in the southern hemisphere and it's now spring for you. Happy spring. This is where I'm at. This is worked on some R&R iced cappuccino, 40 count. And I'm doing a Julia conversion here. So there is some DMC, there's some Gentle Arts, there's a hand dyed by Rolanda floss in here. There might be some weeks. If anybody is interested though, and the colors I've been using, please just send me an email or reach out to me on Instagram, and I'll get that information to you. It's been a lot of fun. I decided to make my bird more of a blackbird, and I will carry that through in the autumn and the winter sections. But this has been a lot of fun, and I decided to go for a color palette that was a little brighter because I wanted my strawberries to pop. And in the winter design, there's a poinsettia, and I wanted that to really pop too. So that's where I'm at with that. And yeah, last night I was working on the letters down here, and I ran out of time to finish the W. I had to go to work. So the new start I had was a Halloween pattern. It's from this year's edition of Just Cross Stitch magazine. And it is the Misty Purcell Luminous Fiber Arts chart called Cat O' Lantern. Oh dear. I knew that was going to happen. Here we go. This one right here. So cute. I am doing it on 40 count. This is Harvest. This is my Victorian motto fabric from Nancy Turner. I joined her fabric club in the summer, and this was one of the first pieces I got. Hi, Willie. And I thought it's a peachy blush colored fabric. Oh, there he is. And I thought that was a good background for a Halloween pattern. And I'm using most of the called fors. And the black, I'm using an Anchor black to see how I enjoy working with Anchor for a change. So that is that. Now, knitting. It's called the Woolsia shawl. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It is a design by Ambah O'Brien, who is an Australian, I'm going to call her a knitwear designer. I think she makes shawls and sweaters and hats and things. So I think knitwear designer is the correct term. Now I'm doing a 12 color fade, meaning that I'm using 12 different colors. It maybe isn't a true fade, but you know, what I did was I had some yarn from Dragon Horde Yarn. She's out of Utah. And I had ordered last year, she did a mini skein collection of a series called Outlander. It was inspired by the books and the TV series. And you know, they have color names. Their colorway names are like Sassenach and Lollybrock and Jamie and you know the other names. Okay, and then she did a Doctor Who sock collection. So that came with a regular full skein of yarn with a mini skein. So I'll just show you what I mean by a mini skein. So this is a mini skein, and it was a collection of 10 for the Outlander series. And then the Doctor Who was a regular skein of yarn, and it came with a mini. And everything's a little disheveled looking because Cherub gets into my yarn. So we just have to make the best of it. The child has a thing for yarn, and it's always the fancy yarn. You know, the hand-dyed yarns that cost money. Anyway, so it's going to be a little awkward to show because it's an asymmetrical shawl. So I started off with the lightest color. And then here I made 3 bands. I incorporated some of that Doctor Who skein. Because even though these yarns come from a different collection, they all kind of, they go together. Now this gold is the one that will stand out. But, and there is it's an 8-row repeat. anyway, so I was enjoying that, and then Cherub got into my yarn, and everything had to stop to get that fixed, so that was a pain in the butt. So that was my yarn whip, or my knitting whip. Hot Mess Express. Okay, so let's talk plans for October. Plans for October. I know a lot of people like doing dark October? Where they focus on Halloween inspired patterns. I do have some that I will be focusing on. I do plan to continue on with the Cat-O-Lantern. And then I don't have a picture of it here, but I showed it last time. It was October 31st by Brenda Gervais. That's the one that's got the witch and the trees on either side, and there's a pumpkin. I'm going to get back to that. This Halloween Quaker by Lila Studio is going to be a new start. Sorry. A lot of people are working on this right now. And I'm happy to report my murky fabric is now in Canada. So when the fabric arrives, I'm going to start this. And I've got all the threads already. I had ordered them from Creative Quarters, Shelley, out in BC. So that was exciting. And Halloween-wise, Halloween at Hollyberry Farm is another one I've been talking about starting with Lisa in Australia. I think this is going to be a birthday start for her in October. Then Debbie at Creatively Yours. She's in the Netherlands. Lisa's in Australia. She's in the Netherlands. She's doing a birthday sale with the Snooty Parrots. And that starts this October the 1st. Is that a Thursday? I think so. I think I have that day off. So I'm all ready to go. I'm totally kitted up. I'm using vellum from Picture This Plus. That was a new fabric this year. And 40 count, of course, because I'm a 40 count diva. And I'm going to be using that, I think, with most of the Gentle Arts. With most of them. So I'm looking forward to that. And what else? I will put a picture in here, but it's called Autumn Alphabet by Willow Hill Samplings. And I find this time of year you see a lot of people working on it. And I think it's quite popular because the pumpkins have a blue-greenish hue to them, which is different. And there's a cat. And is there a bat? Anywho, it seems to be a very popular chart this time of year. And there is an alphabet as well. So now there's a couple of different styles I think going on for this one. I do know though, the Facebook group I belong to, Stitching 911, Stacy, who has a Flosstube. She's the 911 stitcher, I believe, and this is Stitching 911 on Facebook. Did I write it down? Yeah. Facebook group. There is a sale, and it's called the Autumn Alphabet with Friends sale. So if you join the Facebook group, there is that. And then I know other people are doing it as well. And I know there's been some discussion about how the called for colors, the particular or the most recent dye lot doesn't seem to really match with the photo. So there's been a lot of discussion about colors and what are you going to do? What colors are you going to use and everything. So I have some ideas what I'm going to use. I think I do have some of the called for Gentle Arts but also I think once my murky fabric gets here, I think there's going to be enough murky left over that I can use it for that. And then once that's here, then I'll figure out my colors. So those are the plans. So there'll be some new starts. There'll be some Sals. Some new Barbara Anna, because we love all the Barbara Annas. And Sal's with some new stitchy friends. And as well, I'm going to keep working on that scarf because I want to get it done. And now I kind of got a rhythm to it. I feel like it's going faster, so I want to keep at it. Now, what else did I want to talk about? Well, I guess this is kind of like life, not so much life, but just, you know, the way things, happy accidents or whatever. So this is the weekend of the retreat, the Pacific Northwest retreat that Acorns and Threads was putting on in Portland, Oregon, and I had planned on going, I think as many of you know, so it's this weekend. So, you know, it's a little sad that I'm not there, but at the same time, it's okay that I'm not there. It's totally okay I'm not there. And part of my trip was going to include going up to Vancouver after being in Portland and probably taking in the Knit City event, which I attended last year when I was in Vancouver. And that's next weekend. Now, they're not having an actual event, a physical event, but they're having a virtual event this year. And they're having workshops. And so this has all just kind of come about recently, and I've just kind of got my head around it. And somebody, scratch that. They're having virtual workshops, and there's going to be one on Turkish spindles. And if you're new to this Flosstube, you probably haven't heard me talk about them before. But last year I bought a Turkish spindle because I love the effect when you're spinning the yarn and you wrap it around. For all intents and purposes, it kind of looks like a God's eye, if you know what that is. Remember, we had popsicle sticks when we were little, and we wrapped yarn around them, and it kind of looked like... Anyways, I'll insert a picture here because I forgot to get out my Turkish spindle. Long story short, I'm going to be taking a workshop on how to figure out this freaking Turkish spindle thing. Spindle. It's a Turkish spindle. Yeah, it's a Yiddish thing. It's called Making Yarn with Turkish Spindle. And the teacher is Diana Twiss. And it's going to be on Zoom. And there's other workshops too going on. You might want to check it out. I'll put a link. And what a great thing that they were able to figure out something, because I feel so bad for those organizers because they had planned this great knitting event in Montreal this past March. It was the first time they were having like a knitting event in Montreal. All this planning and organization that went into it. They had to cancel it because of COVID. Then they rescheduled for July, and they had to cancel it again. And then they always have one in Vancouver in early October. Not happening. So I guess they came up with this idea to have a virtual event. And so yeah, so there's also like merchandise, and because of course they've had all this stuff prepared in advance, right? So there's merchandise. And I think there's also a list of all the vendors who would have been having a booth if there was an event. So I'll put a link to that because that's kind of cool if you're into yarning, if you're into knitting and spinning whether it's using a drop spindle, a handheld spindle, or actually using a loom. A loom, oh, you know the ones, a spinning wheel, that type of concept. Yeah. Don't judge me, I work night shift. So I'll put in a link. And another cool thing is, I don't know, I guess I left a comment with the teacher on Instagram, and one of the girls I met in Vancouver last year is taking the same workshop, so that's kind of cool. So, where are we at? I just had a little bit of haul that I wanted to run through with you. Also, in honor of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I'm going to do a little slideshow tribute to her of representations of RBG in textile arts. And what do I mean by textile arts? Well, knitting, cross stitch, rug hooking, quilting. I've come across, you know, and this all happens in Instagram. You know, if you type in RBG and art, a whole bunch of stuff is going to turn up. But I'm going to pop in some of those images at the end of this Flosstube, because I think it's quite fascinating to see how people use their art and their talent to come up with these great pieces. You know, you've seen them too of all kinds of you know, movers and shakers or activists, or also the Queen is another one. And I mean, it's just such a talent, and to be able to recreate such a true likeness too, I just find fascinating. Some of them, though, might only reflect a characteristic of the person. Like Ruth Bader Ginsburg was always known for her jabot, her collar that she wore over her justice gown. And Julie, oh my God, Julie, Kansas City girl in a Colorado world. She came out with a design. I'll put a link to that, and I will show that one as well. A lot of people have been stitching that up, and thank you to Julie for creating that free design for us. A lot of people have been quite saddened by the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and last weekend I watched, it was on CNN, and I think it was almost like a 2-hour movie biography of her, and it was fascinating. And I never realized, well, number one, I'm Canadian, so I'm a little out of the loop, I think, to begin with. But number two, I never realized all the things that she's done, to think about her career, and with the ACLU, and how many times she went to the Supreme Court, and how many of those cases she won, and the changes that came about because of those hearings and those judgments. So quite, you know, I can't find the words. I mean, I was trying to think, can I name a Canadian Supreme Court justice? Well, yeah, but I think they're all retired. I don't know if I can name a current one, to tell you the truth. Yeah, Canadians are very bombarded by American news and American current events. We seem to be, yeah. So sometimes I think we know as much as Americans do, if not more, because it's just so there all the time. So yeah, so stick around to see that, those little images. Now, a couple of things I've got. So now, this is stuff that I either got at Creative Quarters from Shelley in BC, or because you count in Moncton, my LNS that is still open, and I'm hoping somebody's going to buy it, or it's going to be a very dark day. Very dark day. Anyways, I was having some FOMO, and I was scared that this chart was going to become out of print at some point, so I got it. A Wavy Ride. I won't be starting this year, but I just had to get it. Even though that acorn border looks like it's going to be a pain in the ass, I had to get this. I know somebody had stitched it without the border, and I know there are some people who would never play around with a Blackbird's design, but I like that border. It's nice. This is a Prairie Schooler. Oh my goodness. I'm not taking this out. But I love this here. And look at this. The cat is like a skeleton. Look at the face. Then, oh, I got this piece of fabric. I know it's Picture This Plus. It's a Lugana. It's a 32 count, which I don't mind because it's going to be a nice tight weave. I know it's Picture This Plus, but it's one of these ones where I don't know what color this is. I have to check it out. But can you see the purple through it? I thought that would be fun for some kind of a Halloween design. Why not? And of course, I had to get this. It finally got across the border into Canada. Everybody's been talking about this for weeks and weeks on Flosstube, but I'm like waiting patiently for it to get to Canada. And of course, this is why I had to get it. Barbara Anna. You know, people? Hang on. Oh, sweet Jesus. All the Barbara, you got to stitch all the Barbaranas. Oh my God. The Barbara Anna design. Michelle Bendy was working on this. Seriously, gobsmacked, jaw bouncing on the floor, like, oh my God, it's so exciting. And there's a punch needle in here that I like too. It's called Crows and Pumpkins by Nancy Aragno. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. Do you see that? Purple background with white pumpkins and a couple of crows. It's punch needle, but I think that would be a fun mat, rug hooking mat to make. Because you know I have purple wool somewhere, and black and white. I could figure it out. I would like to learn how to punch needle at some point, but not this year. This is not the year. This year is crazy. So I think that's it. I think I got everything under control. Life update. Well, I had a hip issue, people. I was in significant pain. It seems my hips were out of alignment. Like, what the hell? And I haven't even given birth. So my hips were out of alignment. I went to see my physio because I thought it was my back that was bugging me again, but a completely different injury. He said, oh, your hips are out of alignment. Your right hip is higher and forward compared to your left one. And I'm like, what the hell? So he did what he does. And then I haven't had any pain since. And that was, I think I saw him on Wednesday, Thursday. Anyways, thank you, Jesus. I can't believe how much pain I was in. Seriously. So that's that. So that was a bit of a whoa. Very upsetting. So I think that had a bit of an impact on my stitching. And the cats are good. Now that the leaves are blowing about, you know, they think they can chase the leaves through the window onto the gallery, onto the ground. I don't know how. So they will chase back and forth. Wellington one night tried to jump through the window because he was trying to get a leaf. So that has an impact on my sleeping, let me tell you. So yeah, so good. Thank you everybody for all your comments you left after the last Flosstube. Thank you for wishing me a happy Flosstube anniversary and all that stuff. I hope you enjoy my floss tubes. I hope you continue to comment, to like, and if you do subscribe and hit that bell, you're going to know when I'm going to pop up again, which is always kind of exciting. I think, I don't know. Now that I've gotten warmed up, I'm talking better. But yeah, I got to work again tonight, and then I'm off tomorrow, and then I'm off next weekend. So I'll be looking forward to that. I want to wish you a great rest of September with all your sampler stitching. There's been some phenomenal sampler stitching out there. Get yourself on Instagram and check it all out. It's just been awesome. And I will provide you with some notes in the bottom. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Sometimes I forget to clarify things. Sometimes I assume you know what I'm talking about. So don't hesitate. Leave me a question. Take care. Kisses, bisous. Bye.